What's up, Prop Mob? Eduardo Talbert here. This is Monster Tutorials. In today's video we're making Follow Me Eyes. Let's get started. Let's get started with this exciting project. So excited. So the first thing we need to do is make a mold from which we're going to cast the Follow Me Eyes. So there are two options that you have here. There's the easy option is go to Amazon, and I put the link below and get yourself one of these. These are silicone molds of a sphere. Just make sure you get the right size sphere. This one's a little bit oversized, but you can get a regular eyes 28 millimeters, which is slightly over like an inch, right? So, but the second option is to make your own mold, which is what I'm going to do. For that, I ordered these. These are ball bearings. They are 1-inch ball bearings. Comes in a 10-pack. And I'm going to go ahead and make 10 molds, or 1 mold for 10 eyes. So I can do 5 pairs at a time. I'm also going to use some Lego blocks, right? So let's get started with that piece. This is a piece of corrugated plastic. The mold, I cut it so that the mold fits right on top. That way we can affix it right there. The next thing we're going to do for this first layer is going to fill it up with clay. I am using regular pottery clay. I'm going to tack the frame to the board just with a little drop of hot glue, just to hold it in place. That is perfect. Now we're going to take some of this clay right here, and we're going to pack this up until it's level. Right, there you go. It has a nice layer of clay. It's as even as I could get it. So now we gotta space out the ball bearings in here. So I've measured them and I know the distance between them. Right. Doesn't have to be exact, but we're gonna put 1 ball bearing on each one of these where these 2 lines intersect. One of the things I figured out the hard way is that the better you do your mold, the less finishing you have to do after you unmold the stuff. So the ball bearings, I went and cleaned them with isopropyl alcohol, just rubbing alcohol to make sure they're perfectly clean, because the smoother they are, the less finishing work we'll have. And that's why I have a glove on, and we're going to put them where the clay intersects. I'm going to push them in about halfway. Make sure they're nice and even. That looks perfect. So what I'm going to do now is build up the walls so that they cover these bearings about a ½ inch, so that the mold is nice and sturdy. So I'm just going to use the blocks to start building all around it. Now, based on my calculations, we're going to have to use this whole kit right here of mold rubber. Like, it's supposed to be just the right amount. If not, I'm going to have to go get some more. So let's go ahead and do it. So I'm using this mold rubber from Alumilite, right? This kind right there. And it comes with a catalyst right here and silicone. And To make the whole thing, all you do is pour this all the way in there, mix it really well, and then pour it on top of the mold, which we'll do next. Just keep in mind that this has a working time for about 20 minutes, so don't mess around with it after 20 minutes. And then you're going to let it sit for 2 to 8 hours, which I like to be on the safe side, so I'm going to do 8 hours. Let's do that now. All right, I think this is really mixed, so let's pour this. That was the absolutely most perfect amount I have ever measured. All right, so we're going to let that sit for 8 hours, and I'll see you in a little bit. All right, it's been several hours. Fix this. And this thing is solid. Super heavy too. It's a well-built mold, but let's unmold it. Looking good. Let's pop these out. That is a beautiful mold. I just gotta clean it up, but as you can see, all the surfaces, right, are super shiny and smooth, which is what we need for a nice clear set of eyes. I'm gonna trim all this too. This is just from the overflow. All right, that turned out pretty cool. There's some clay stuck under the silicone, but other than that, the mold is really nice. It's nice and firm. So let's get started with mixing the resin. Now, this is really cool. So this is a new resin from Alumilite. Right, and this is the Amazing Clear Cast Plus. And what this does, it has some UV stabilization. So it resists yellowing, which is really good because these eyes are going to go in my props that are going to go outside. And if you've noticed clear resin before, if you leave it in the sun or in any sort of like a UV source of light, it'll start yellowing over time. So this has some formulation that inhibits the yellowing. I don't know if it inhibits it all the way, but it stabilizes it against the UV light. So they sent me this. I didn't pay for this. They just sent it to me to test. That's what we're going to be using. Now this is a very slow resin. It cures in, where was it? We have 40 minutes of work time and 24 to 48 hours of cure time. So we got plenty of time. I gotta figure out the volume of these spheres. So they're 10 half spheres, which means 5 full spheres. So what is the formula for the volume of, of a sphere? All right, so each one of the spheres is about 9 cubic centimeters, but it's half a sphere, so it's about 4.5. 4.5 times 10 is 45. So 45 milliliters or cc's of resin. So I don't know what the density on this is, but I'm going to assume it's close to 1. So we're going to let's do 50 grams. That means 25 of this, 25 of that should be enough to fill these guys halfway up, right? Well, to the top because they're half spheres, and then we'll be done. We have plenty of time to mix it up. All right, perfect. I'll mix this real well. And I want to make sure that this is perfectly mixed, so I'm using the 2-cup method, which means I'm going to mix this as much as I can here, scraping the sides and the stick real well. And when you think it's really mixed, we're going to move it to this cup. All right, fresh cup and fresh stir stick. All right, now let's fill this up. All right, that looks perfect. Let's put this in the pressure pot. Okay, I set the pressure pot. It's pressurized. The mold is in there with the resin. I'm gonna leave it until tomorrow at this time, so I'll see you then. All right, it's been 24 hours. Let's take the pressure out of here. There we go. These are nice and solid. Let's unmold them. Right, there's a moment of truth. Let's see how these turned out. So they're still a tiny little bit tacky, so I'm going to let them finish curing a few more hours. So I'll see you in a bit. All right, quick timeout on this tutorial because I screwed something up. So I went ahead and unmold these, and they are perfectly smooth, not sticky on the bottom, the part that was exposed to the air, but they are sticky and gooey all on the surface that you want to be clear. So I didn't freak out or anything, but I called the guys at Alumilite and said, hey guys, this happened. You know, I just pulled these and they're all sticky. I let it cure for 24 hours. So the first question they said is, what do you use for the mold? So I told them it was Amazing Mold Rubber by Alumilite. And the next question was, when did you make the mold? And I said, yesterday. And they said, that might be the culprit. This, even though it's ready and solid, won't be fully cured or fully inert until like a week later. So I waited a whole week to pour a new one so that the silicone or whatever this material is doesn't inhibit the curing of the resin, right, of the clear resin. So these are kind of useless, they're all sticky. So let's unmold these. All right, let's see if this is any better. Much better. See, it's not sticky, and it's not sticky on the top. It is not, however, perfectly shiny and clear, so we're going to have to kind of like refinish that. But as you can see in there, you can see through there are no bubbles. There appears to be one little bubble there. Let's see another one. There you go, perfectly clear. It's just hazy on the outside, so we're going to have to like polish this. All right, let me unmold these guys. There we go. So next step, the easiest way to do this is to put it back in here. And these next steps are like super easy, right? So we're going to need a pupil to go here, a pupil and an iris. I found out that you shouldn't do an iris because the optical effect that makes it look like it's following you. If you put an iris here with a pupil, it will distort as you look at it sideways, which means that the effect won't work. So it's better if you just do a black circle. I'm using some electrical tape, and we're going to just, I'm going to punch a piece of electrical tape and I'm going to hold it with some pincers. Now we're going to put it as close to the middle as you can. Alright, so let me pop this out real quick, because that part is crucial, that it is in the middle of your eyeball. So that looks like it's perfectly in the middle. So I'm going to rub it in to make sure it's really adhered to the resin. Alright, see, very visible. And the next step, you can hold it right here, is we're going to paint the back of the eye white. That will resemble the cornea, and it will also give it a bright background so that the effect works. If you leave it clear, it's not going to work. You're going to have a light background. For that, I'm using this. This is just interior latex that we used for the trim in the bathroom, right? But any paint will do, any paint that will stick to this. So test your paints. This has worked for me. You can also use something like this, acrylic gesso, right? Or any paint that is really opaque. And now we're just going to paint all the inside white. That looks perfect. Let that dry and I'll show you how it works. Alright, so this is how it came out of the mold. I'm going to be looking at other silicones that will give us a better finish than this. But then I took it to the sink and I started using some of these sanding pads, sanding sponges. There's a link below, and I started with like 1,000 grit all the way to 3,500. That looks flat, but it's not. See, it's perfectly clear. You can see it, so this will give you the effect pretty good. So let's talk about how these work and how to install them. Okay, so this is how this works. So let's pretend that this is the forehead right here, right? And then there's the eye. Then there comes the nose, right? The person has a nose kind of like that. This is not a monster by any means, but there you go. It's a profile. So let's do another one here that kind of looks like it. The nose, not as good, but anyway, mouth and chin, right? So most people will try to put the eye, so this is the eye, like that, right? Like a bug eye. This way it will not work, okay? What you want to do is recess the eye on the back of the eye socket so that this part where you look at the eye of the prop sees only this surface right here, leaving the dot in the background to do the effect of following you wherever it goes. Now this is hard to demonstrate here, but I hope you understand to set it in the back. Let me show you. All right, let's find this guy. This guy will do the demonstration for us. So this eye is sticking straight out, as you can see. See how far out it is? Comes out about a ½ inch. And the effect is, it's okay. I mean, it kind of looks at you, but it's not as good as this one. This eye is set way inside. And as you can see, this guy will look at you. If you look at him from the top, from the bottom, look at that side eye, and that's creepy. And even any angle. So there you go. So that's how you install them. Don't forget to recess them back into your props. All right, let's check this little lady out. Look at that. All right, so let's put a follow me eye right here. Yeah, nice and creepy. Take this hair is out of the way, and let's put her face back on. Check this out. So that's my reptile eye. So that's how you install it, right? So you saw I recessed it into the foam. And that's how you would do it with all your other props. In a future video, I'm going to do an eye surgery on that zombie. Can you see it there? See where my finger is? That zombie. We're going to do an eye replacement surgery in a future video. So a quick timeout. I know that this process of building these eyes is not easy. I mean, I had to like over time build my skills, my equipment and everything to be able to do this. So I might, I'm not sure, just check just in case, but I might make some of these follow me eyes and package them, put them in my store. The link is below. So check to see if they're there. If they're there, there'll be limited quantities, so pick it while you can. And yeah, right, back to the video. And that's how you make follow me eyes. Full size. Actually, you can make it whatever size depending on the mold that you choose. So that was pretty easy, simple. The effect is not that much of a secret, right? So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe, especially if you want to see the surgery of the zombie over there where we replace his or her eyes. You know, I think that should be interesting. And this Halloween, I'm hoping that all my props will be checking everybody out, you know, with the side eye. So, and then it's Eduardo Talbert. This is Monster Tutorials. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I'll see you on the next one.